Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. The topic today is on mindfulness and meditation. And my special guest is Paul Samborsky, who is, hello, Paul.
Hi.
Who is the Chief Gratitude Officer of GratitudeRocksPlus.com. And today we're going to share our personal experience, our knowledge, and we're going also to share some techniques that you may also apply in your life. Just a few words about myself. My name is Desi Simeonova, and I have been practicing, actually for the very first time, I started practicing meditation about 11 years ago when I met my first yoga teacher from India. But at that time, I wasn't I wasn't really sure what meditation was about because I barely knew anything about yoga. But I tried out of curiosity, and I tried different approaches, different techniques that I'm going to share with all of you today. But my the moment when I decided to practice regularly was once I completed my first Vipassana meditation course in 2014. And since then, I've been practicing every single day. So it took me quite a while until I created that habit, and I decided that this is really something that is important for me. And I created I devoted some of my time to this practice, and I have so many things to share with you about meditation. And in terms of mindfulness, once I returned back from that retreat, I decided that I want to teach something that is simpler to my high school students, because nowadays so many of them deal with stress, anxiety, depression, and I just wanted to provide a technique that will help them deal with the daily stress. And that was the main reason why I took several online courses. And the first one was about me practicing mindfulness. And I really like that structure, because how can I teach something to my students if I have no experience, if I don't practice it myself? So the first mindfulness course was just for me to teach me how to do it. And then I took another one which is specially designed for teachers, how to teach mindfulness to students. And the third course that I took with them was how to communicate mindfully. And I'm going to share some very powerful techniques with you today. So Paul, could you please tell us how your journey of meditation and mindfulness started?
Okay, my journey basically started about 7 years ago when I took my first course with on meditation with Oprah and Deepak Chopra. That was one of the openings for me to start meditating on a regular basis. Prior to that, I did a lot of praying, and now prayer and meditation are very similar, except that prayer is more let's say you talking to God, and meditation is more God talking back to you. There's a little bit of both in each, but more that way. And it's very important to learn to listen to what God has to say to you. Now, I use the term God, but everybody has a different idea of what the term God is and what God is. So often you'll hear me talking about praying or listening to the universe. And the universe is my representation of what God is, because another way I've often used is the term all that is. I listen to all that is talking to me, and all that is knows me very, very well and loves me very well and wants to be able to communicate with me. So that's basically where I'm at. I meditate, 29 days out of 30. There are a couple of days which just doesn't happen, but the fact that I meditated those other days carries me through the days that I do miss into the point, and also reminds me how wonderful I feel when I do meditate. So on days that I do miss, I get up early in the morning and I don't have time to meditate and I got to go out and drive somewhere. But I try to, if I don't meditate early in the morning, I can meditate later on in the day, and it's all very, very well useful. So the God that we can all see is reflected in us, and that's where we have to be, reflecting the God in us to the world. Meditation allows us to do that a lot more, because we become vessels of his love, and that's where the most important thing, we become vessels of his love. So let's get into the first question there, Desi.
Yeah, so let's share why we chose this topic, and what is actually meditation and what is mindfulness. The main reason we decided to focus on mindfulness and meditation is because these two are very powerful techniques. How to deal with panic attacks. I'm going to share some personal experiences. Panic attacks, stress, depression, and anxiety. And the main reason why I want to share these techniques is because all you need to do is just take a few moments, either seated or standing, and acknowledge what is happening. Acknowledge what is happening inside of you and how you feel at this particular moment. So what I would like to say is meditation is usually is a practice that is done in a seated position and with the back straight and with legs crossed. However, you may keep your there are cases when you may keep your feet on the floor, on the mat. So the idea is to bring your attention inward and to connect with that divine self, with our true nature, connect with who we truly are. Because often we are driven by the ego, and we often identify ourselves with the thoughts, with the feelings, with the body, but that's not who we truly are. We are that divine being, and that divine being is each one of us, right? We're not different. We are all divine beings. So it's just a matter of time and practice to discover that uniqueness, that divinity. And mindfulness, it's more, in terms of mindfulness, you don't really need to sit down and to, in order to practice. You can practice mindfulness at any moment, while talking, while eating, while shopping. So that's why I thought that mindfulness and meditation, these are very powerful techniques that you may find useful in your daily life, and you may we're going to discuss the benefits, but you'll find how really great techniques they are indeed. Would you like to add something in terms of why we chose this topic before we get into the details? Paul?
Yeah, well, I tell you, as far as we're concerned here, mindfulness is, and I just want to reiterate what you just said, mindfulness is something that you can do yourself throughout the day. Meditation is something that you do for a longer period of time where you're concentrating, and often, you know, I find that I lose a sense of time when I'm meditating, and I have often lost sensation in my body. I have not really actually know exactly where it is. So there's and that has a benefit to it too, because you know, it makes you, you know, a lot stronger physically, and a lot stronger
Mentally,
spiritually and mentally. It's really great.
Yes.
You know, I often tell people that, you know, you do learn to meditate, usually with some friends. Some people show you how to meditate, but then there's always your own learning that you learn from how to meditate yourself. You start learning what feels good for you. And that's what really is very important. You're growing yourself, and you're becoming a part of the meditation experience in yourself. You know,
Yeah, and it's all about being open and curious and try, because there are some techniques that may work for you right now, may not work in the future, but
yep.
it's all about trying and finding what is the best approach. So meditation, as I said, it's simply a technique, it's a practice. You devote some time from 1 minute to 1 hour or to even more to yourself, to sitting down and observing, to just bringing the attention inward and tune to your true self, tune to your really unique self.
Yeah.
And there are different types of, yep.
I just wanted to make, you know, and I wanted to emphasize that this can happen any time during the day. It doesn't have to happen in the morning. It can be in the afternoon. I highly recommend it's before the supper hour, but it's like one friend of mine was a young woman who was nursing children, and she learned how to meditate while she was nursing. Okay, and I thought that was just beautiful, you know, because she's giving life to her child, and at the same time she's giving life to herself. And you know, she was able to do that because the nursing would obviously take a while. So she was able to withdraw into herself and be able to do that. Of course, most women like nursing in the privacy of their own selves. So and that's really, really great. So you know, that's just a little aside about meditation and things. So mindfulness, I'd like to explain.
I just want to share something else about meditation. So there are different types of meditation techniques, and the one that we're going to practice today is guided meditation. And this is one of the very first actually practices that I tried. I registered, and I even shared that with all of you on Facebook. It's a 21-day meditation practice, guided meditation with Deepak Chopra and Oprah, and I highly recommend this one. This is the at the very beginning of my journey. I practiced for 21 days. I was a disciplined student. Every single day I sat for 15 minutes and they guided me, and they're very powerful. So this is one thing that you may try as at the beginning. And something that I tried with my yoga instructor at the very beginning, we were sitting and we were focusing on the flame of a candle. So this is another type. Another type is where you focus on particular parts of the body. It could be your third eye, it could be your heart chakra. Also, you want to mention something?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
That's a very, very powerful meditation. The third eye meditation.
Then we have the mantra meditation. You just repeat one mantra over and over again. And the whole point is just to bring the mind, to focus the mind on one particular activity, so that eventually your whole nervous system, your whole body starts to relax, and you find some internal peace and some calmness, and your concentration as a result improves significantly, and you're giving the body some rest. You're allowing your body to recharge and recover from all of that activities that all of the challenges, everything that we need to deal with throughout the day. So that's what I wanted to share about meditation. Do you want to add something else?
Well, you know, I had a really pleasant experience with guided meditation a long time ago. It was really relaxing, and it was really enjoyable. Guided meditations are available everywhere throughout the on the YouTube.
Oh yes.
And I highly recommend that if you want to have a guided meditation, try one or two of those, you know, from someone that you really like. We'll be doing a little bit of a guided meditation for about 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes later on in this webinar. And I'll introduce you to a lady by the name of Esther Hicks, who does a wonderful guidance. Her voice is just tremendous. So we're going on to that, but let's get on to mindfulness and the importance of mindfulness in everyday life.
Yes, so mindfulness is basically staying focused on this present moment. And actually mindfulness, I said that I took some courses because I wanted to teach them to my students, but the truth is that I also needed mindfulness, a lot of mindfulness in my life. I remember once, this is one experience that I wanted to share, when I had an actual panic attack while I was teaching my lesson, and all of a sudden I started noticing that for a second, I doubted myself, and that triggered some strong sensations in my body. And all of a sudden, I started sweating, and all of a sudden, I couldn't express my ideas clearly. I barely could say anything. And for a moment, I just remember the mindfulness practices and techniques that I had learned. So what I decided to do is bring my attention to my breath. And I realized that at that particular moment, that there wasn't a real threat. So there was nothing to be really afraid of. So I really had to face that and just bring my attention to my feelings, to my sensations. And for a second, I forgot what's happening around me in the classroom. And I brought my attention, and I was able to recover really quickly. Because basically these fears that each one of us needs to deal with, and I had plenty of them, and this actually the real reason why I had that panic attack triggered is a fear of public speaking. And that was the main reason. At that moment I doubted myself, and all of a sudden all of these sensations started arising on the surface. And mindfulness is what actually helped me, and I'm glad that I learned. So mindfulness is being present. What is happening? What are the sensations? What are the feelings? How about the thoughts? I'm not the thoughts. I have the thoughts, and I can simply detach from them, observe them, and acknowledge what is basically in the root. What is feeding these thoughts? Why are these thoughts there? And always be kind and don't be judgmental. And this is what really helped me grow and develop as a person on a spiritual level. I'm really trying to accept, okay, I'm afraid right now. Okay, I have that fear. So with kindness and understanding, it's much, this approach, it's much better to try, because that will give you some opportunities to really resolve. If in the past I used to be a very angry person, and I always reacted instead of observing, instead of noticing, and that created much more tension and much more stress. So later on I just realized it's much more important to stop for a moment, acknowledge what is happening, and then try to come up from a different place. And if possible, not to react right away. So that's what mindfulness does. It creates that space in between. And because I work with students, often I have some students who don't behave well in class. So instead of me reacting, I'm more connected, I'm more understanding, and try to get to that point where I connect with their feelings. Why is that person reacting in that particular way? What are the needs that are not met? Why is that person feeling in that particular way? So this is mindfulness. Also, when I communicate with people, I try to be a good listener. I really try to be there, to be present, to listen with all my presence, and really to be there to support that person in the best possible way. So mindfulness, as I said, can be really applied in every single aspect of life, and you can practice mindfulness at every single moment. And it's really important to know that you are living in this present moment. You're not living in the past, you're not living in the future. The past is gone. So right now, here and now, is there a real threat? Is there really anything to be afraid of? You are creating your future right now at this moment. So you can always change these bad old habits by being aware of that and acknowledging, and with kindness and acceptance, just move forward. You have the power, and everything happens to us for a certain reason. I remember all of these challenges that I had to deal with. They were there for a certain reason, to help me grow and develop, to open my eyes and see beyond what's visible.
I love that.
Yeah, you like that.
Is beyond visible. It's really very important.
Yes. So mindfulness helps me, as I said, really helped me, and still helps me when I deal with fears, panic attacks. Also, just as I said, mindfully, to choose my meals mindfully. Is this really what is best for me, for my body at this particular moment? Because I really need to take a good care of my body. Also, when I just an example, when I go shopping, am I mindfully spending my money? When I spend some time with friends, do I really need some time for myself to take care of myself and be with myself, or I want to be with people. So it's as I said, mindfulness can be applied in every single aspect of life. And the more you meditate, the more mindful and aware of this present moment you will be.
Okay, one of the other most important part about mindfulness and meditation is that we learn to breathe properly. One of the most important things about mindfulness is, once you get into the practice, is to take a few deep breaths before you start doing anything. Don't react to a situation before you start taking deep breaths. Usually, mindfulness is a great technique to limit the amount of reaction that you have to a situation that you're confronted with. So let's say that someone comes to you, let's say you're working and someone comes to you and all of a sudden attacks you for your work. It's very easy for you to strike back and say, I don't like your work neither. You know, but most important thing to do is to first take a breath and to breathe. And then breathe. And then all of a sudden the person turns around to you and says, no, I'm just kidding, you know, I'm just fooling with you. And, you know, all of a sudden you had all this stress without, you know, taking it much too seriously. Then you can laugh and say, okay, you got me, you know. But the most important thing is to take deep breaths and to breathe. People just don't realize how important breathing is. It's oxygen that provides the means for the healing, for the body to heal itself. We need oxygen, and the oxygen is carried by our blood, and the more oxygen, more air we take in, the more oxygen we can do in more transmission of oxygen through our lungs into our blood, and then transfer all that oxygen to the muscles that we have in our bodies. It's extremely important, and most people live their whole lives without deep breathing, without breathing deeply. Now, I'm not saying that you should be running all day, you know, and breathing hard, but you got to learn to breathe more and to allow that to happen. One of the things, the most important parts of mindfulness is to remember to breathe and to breathe. And sometimes even counting your breaths, breathe in for a period of time and then exhale for a period of time. I prefer to breathe in for a period of 3 seconds approximately and to exhale for a period of about 5 seconds. So you're breathing in, 2, 3, and exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then count again, doing that. That's useful breathe method in mindfulness, and that's useful for meditation as well. We'll cover that a little later on.
Yeah, and the main reason why when I teach mindfulness, I would like to work with the breath is because we have the breath with us all the time. And that's why it's very powerful, because my students sometimes say, Miss, but music really relaxes me, which is great as well, but will you always have music, even in these tough moments of life? So sometimes all we need is just to bring the attention to the breathing. When we communicate with people, we have that powerful tool with us, and we don't breathe in the past, we don't breathe in the future. We breathe right here and now. And actually that's by bringing our attention to the breath, we are giving the mind this job to focus on one particular activity. And in that case, we're just allowing our body to, our nervous system to calm down, and just to be able to release the toxins, to release all of these negative accumulations in the body. So that's why I really working with the breath. Shall we try some mindfulness? Or actually, before that, before we try mindfulness and meditation and breathing, I just would like to go over the 8 steps of Patanjali. Is that okay, Paul, with you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So the main reason why I would like to go quickly over the 8 steps is because meditation and mindfulness are actually important steps, if I may call them, in that yoga journey. So sometimes I say yoga is life, because for me, yoga is not just a few poses on the yoga mat and that's it. I'm done with the yoga. No, so Patanjali actually, about 200 years before Christ, came up with these powerful techniques, and he shared in the Yoga Sutras these powerful 8 steps that lead to enlightenment, if I may call it. So the first step is basically our attitude towards the world, towards others. So he speaks about being compassionate with others, being honest with others, being kind, generous, and not attached. This is the very first level. So if you really want to develop and to grow on that path spiritually, you need to have this solid foundation. And then the second step is our attitude towards ourselves. How do we treat ourselves? And here we have things like keeping the body clean on the inside and outside. So what kind of food do I eat? How do I keep my body clean on the outside? How about my thoughts? How am I taking care of my mind as well, of my mental state? And then we talk here about gratitude, acknowledging the things that we have in our life, being grateful for the things that we have. So focusing on the things that we have rather than on what we don't have.
Absolutely. It's very important, focusing on what we have rather than what we don't have. And if Sue and Janet and everyone listening can just remember that that's the most important thing that we can, if that's the only thing we take out of this, that breathing is important and that we should focus on what we have rather than what we don't have, then that would be just amazing.
Yes, and also to be aware of ourselves, to be really connected with ourselves, not to disregard the messages that come from the body. So this is the second step. Then the third step is the asanas, and this is where the yoga part comes, the actual movement, to awaken that energy so that it moves around the body and give the opportunity to the body to heal from itself. And then the next step is the breathing, very powerful breathing techniques. And I'm going to teach 2 of them to you today. And after the breathing, then we have control of senses, not to allow our senses to control our actions. And just one simple example, let's say I just had a meal and I'm full, and all of a sudden someone comes over and brings a dessert, and I keep eating and feeding myself, but I feel that I'm full, so there is no need to. But just because it smells so nice and my senses tell me how good it's going to be, so I keep putting more into my body. So it's really not allowing our senses to control our actions and finding balance, really finding balance. What is good for me at this moment? And then the next step is concentration, and this is where mindfulness comes. Focusing on the breath, focusing on something that will bring our attention to this present moment. And then comes meditation, which is the 7th step. Meditation is simply being present, being connected with our divine self, with our true self. And usually in that state, when you're in deep meditation, there is no such thing as hatred, anger. You are in a peaceful state, and you are connected with that true happiness, with that inner peace that comes from within. And the last step is called simply union with God, union with the divine. You actually realize who we are and what is our mission here. Would you like to add anything in terms of these 8 steps?
Well, it's really very important, and but I want to extract from there some really bits of important understanding, so that we all can be reminded. We are not our bodies. We are in charge of our bodies. We are in charge of taking care of our bodies, but we are not. We are pure energy, a pure conscious energy that inhabits this body, inhabits every cell of this body, and allows this body to be motivated and controlled by us. And we can either do that willingly, with an understanding, with focus, or we can just let it happen. I personally prefer to be focused on what I want to do, to have good intention of what I want to do, and then so it's really important that we recognize that we are not our bodies, and that when this body becomes not useful, it no longer can do the things that it can do, and it dies, then our spirit, which has been motivating that, goes back to another realm, and then immediately wants to come back because it's enjoyed this life so much. And each one of the people who are here are explorers who love going out and finding new things, and each one of us want to go and to expand the horizon of this world. Each one of us wants to elevate just a tiny little bit, and each one of us have that responsibility to do that. And that's part of our mission, if you will, to be here. Sometimes you do it without willingly understanding, but you do your mission. So it's really very important that each one of us is here, and that's how we'll grow. So
yeah, so I just want to add that I always look at my body as my temple, and it is there to serve me for as long as possible in order to fulfill my mission and to awaken, to really grow on this spiritual journey. So I need my body, which means that I need to take a good care of myself, and that's why one of the 8 steps is about taking care of myself, because I cannot really grow and develop if I neglect the messages, if I coming from the body. So it is really important how we treat ourselves, how we treat others, how we also the meditation and the mindfulness practice are very important, because we need to really be able to focus in order to really go to that deep level of awareness and really be able to connect with who we truly are. So yeah.
I have one more thing that I want to share. One of the benefits of meditation is that you're connecting through your higher self to all that is, to all the knowledge that's in the world. And if you come with a problem and you say, I present this issue to you, often through meditation, you will get a response. I had an issue where I said, how can I get more people to come to my booth at a show that I was on with my Gratitude Rocks, and I said, how can I get them actually to move away from the corridor they're passing by and actually stop and say hello and talk to me? How can I do that? And I presented that problem in meditation, and as I was breathing, I actually felt a big flash of light. I saw a big flash of light all of a sudden come to me in my mind's eye, and then hit me, and it just exploded in response. And I got the answer right away, and not by words, but by image, by thoughts that were coming through to my mind. They're saying, wow, this is the way you got to do it. You've got to print out your positivity pledge, you post it up, and you ask people to sign for that positivity pledge that they are going to be doing it, and you give them a copy of the positivity pledge. And that all came out in this bang, bang. And I got all the image, and it was such a good, and it was so successful. I actually have, this is some of the cards that were filled out with the people. There were over 120 people set by, and I got all their email addresses and their names, and they were all just delighted with the whole process. So that came through meditation, and that was one of the beautiful examples of why I meditate all the time, because it's just so fulfilling.
Yeah, I remember often I also ask a question, and then sometimes in meditation or later on during the day I get an answer. Often, for example, I want to be creative in my teaching style, and I want to come up with some new problems for my students, but to present them in a different way so that they're more willing to try. And often I came up with these great ideas, and then when I applied them later on, I just realized, wow, that makes such a difference. And it's just, and sometimes I realize that when I slow down and I take that time to practice meditation, I'm actually moving much faster forward, because I just get what I need at the right moment, and it's just because I'm taking this time to practice. It's interesting how it works, but I feel that I move faster.
Oh yeah, we get further through our day, you know, and as Desi just said, you get answers through your meditation that you don't remember you got through your meditation, but you get answers for the questions that you're going to have later in that day. You know, the answer is 42, you know, and you don't know, remember you got that answer there, but you know, you do get that, you get that through your whole thing, and you start seeing how, you know, you're actually being carried through this life, and that you're actually being a really excited part of this life, and it's really, really very exciting. I can't, you know, tell people more how exciting it is. You know.
Okay, I think it's time to start practicing.
Let's do that.
Breathing, first one. We're going to practice two types of breaths. The first one is alternate nostril breathing, and the second one is breath of fire. And both are very powerful because they allow you to just bring more oxygen in the body and release, just release the toxins, release the anything that your body doesn't need. So for the first one, we're going to breathe in through the right nostril. So place your thumb on your right nostril, your index and middle finger on your third eye, and the other two fingers on your left nostril. So for a moment, let's take a breath, and I'll be counting through the right nostril. So you release your thumb, and let's take we're going to practice for about a minute. So take a breath in through your right nostril for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, retain the breath for 1, 2, and exhale through your left nostril for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale through your left, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 1, 2, and exhale through your right for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale through the right for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, retain the breath for 1, 2, and exhale through your left for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale one more time through the left for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 1, 2, and exhale through your right for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last breath in for 1, 2, 3, 4, and you may release your hand. And for a moment, I just invite you to close your eyes and just acknowledge how you feel. You may stay focused on your breath or on your current state. And just notice if there is any difference. How is your mind? How is your body? Notice any changes. And you may open your eyes. So the entire idea of lengthening the exhale is just to give the body a longer period of time to really release the toxins and just to calm down them. the mind and the nervous system. And the next breath is breath of fire, and often it works really well if you have some kind of anxiety. On the inhale, fill your belly, and on the exhale, the navel moves in, and it's a forceful exhale. So you really want to release all of that fire that is in the body. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale, fill your belly, lungs, and exhale. And let's do it at a bit faster pace together. Inhale. Through your nose. One more. And last one. And just relax here for a moment. Close eyes. Acknowledge any change. How is your breath? Do you notice any change in your mood, in the feelings? And you may open your eyes. And we just practiced for about a minute. And I'm not sure how you feel, Paul, but I actually noticed some difference in my body.
It's amazing how much relaxed I become.
Yeah, all of that oxygen that goes in the body just somehow enlightens
us up. And yeah, absolutely, it's a really good, and that's a really good meditation to do, or at least do that. You know, we only did both of those exercises for about a minute, and it really about 3 minutes is what's required.
Yeah.
So anybody's listening, they can, but 3 minutes, that's all about that you need. And if you can do the breath of fire for 3 minutes before you do your meditation, you are going to meditation state, then it really relaxes. The whole thing becomes a more focused regime. So those are options that you can have, that you can do. Yeah. Very important. Good to have options.
And I would like to practice gratitude, which is kind of a mindfulness practice that I often teach to my students. So for a moment, I will invite you to find a comfortable seated position. Of course, you may be standing, it's your choice. And just relax your hands, palms facing up. And just relax your shoulders, bring the shoulder blades back and relax the shoulders, tuck the chin in. And for a moment, I'll invite you to close your eyes. So we're going to practice gratitude for about a minute. And I want to invite you to acknowledge how you feel right now at this moment before we start with the gratitude practice. And now I would like to invite you for about a minute to focus on everything, or could be an object, could be something material, or something that comes from nature, something that you're grateful for, or someone that you're grateful for. Find a reason and just notice what kind of feelings arise in the body, what kinds of sensations arise in the body when you're focusing on gratitude, focusing on what you have. And just for a minute, stay with that. And while you're expressing gratitude, you may try to see your facial expression. Do you notice any change? Do you notice any anything? Just be aware, be present, acknowledge. Now return back to your senses And whenever you feel ready, you may open your eyes. And just by shifting the mind for a moment to acknowledging what we have is also very powerful technique, because we are vibrating at a high frequency, and we are acknowledging, we're saying to the universe, thank you, I appreciate what I have. And the universe is there to give you even more, because as Paul said, we're not the body. We are pure light, we are pure love, and there is abundance. And there is a lot for everyone at the same moment. We just need to know how to get to that point. So gratitude is a powerful technique that we may practice. And by allowing, focusing, we're attracting more positive things and more positive people to be grateful for.
And if anybody's more interested, you can go back to our YouTube channel, Desi's YouTube channel, and listen to our gratitude webinar that we
Oh,
had.
yes. Yeah, we had a gratitude webinar. Yeah. Yeah.
That would be wonderful things.
Yeah,
I
so
just want to go over, Desi, while we're still at the benefits. I want to make sure that everyone knows that there's so many benefits to our bodies when we do these exercises, these mindfulness, these breathing exercise, our meditations. You know, I just want to reiterate that there are so many benefits to us. Desi mentioned a few of them before. The ability to focus. Focus is so important in our lives. Our lungs and our respiratory systems are improved dramatically. You know, we remove toxins from our bodies. We rejuvenate their nervous systems. We allow them to calm down and become refreshed. And we restore balance in our lives in very many ways. You know, there's all sorts of release of anxieties that are really very important. We have to, you know, remember that that's all very important. Those mental stresses that come during the day that can be very debilitating. Just turning to mindfulness, we can release those mental stresses and to come back up. You know, we just increase our lung capacity, but just doing more exercise and breathing more, which is really very important. All those are really very important sessions. So let's practice the guided meditation mindfulness session.
Yeah, let's practice mindfulness, and then we're going to practice the guided meditation, the one that you have in mind.
Okay.
Yeah, so for mindfulness, I will invite you to, again, sit comfortably with your back straight. And I invite you to close the eyes. The main idea is just to avoid external distractions and just to bring the attention to our internal world, what is happening inside of us. So take a comfortable seated position. Again, you may relax your hands on your laps, tuck the chin in so the back of the neck is aligned with your spine, and close your eyes. And for a few moments, let's focus on the breathing and be curious about the breath. Normal breathing, we're not trying to control the breath. Right now, we are observing the breath. And let's count the breath. On the next inhale, I will invite you to count for 1, and on the exhale for 2. Inhale for 3, and exhale for 4. And let's practice for a few seconds. And if it happens that your mind wanders, just with kindness, without any judgment, return back to your counting and you may restart. And now I invite you to bring your attention to the feelings in the body. Just acknowledge how you feel. Wherever that is, observe. So you're observing yourself. What were the feelings, the sensations, and where do you feel it? You may quickly scan your whole body and just acknowledge if there is any tension in any parts of the body. Just try to release and relax for a moment. And then for a moment, become curious about your thoughts. Observe your thoughts, but remember, you're not the thoughts. So don't identify yourself with the thoughts. Think of the thoughts as a little child that needs your love, attention, support. Think of the mind this way. So be kind, observe your thoughts. And over time, with practice, we're going to train the mind to serve us in the best possible way. What kind of thoughts do I have? Are these past, future, or present thoughts? And if there are no thoughts, just observe. And now I invite you to bring your attention to sounds coming from the body, sounds coming from the room, or sounds coming from outside. And just try to stay focused on the sounds. And now bring your attention back to your breathing. Notice any changes in your body, in your breath in particular. And when you're ready, you may open your eyes. Yeah, so these are some of the mindfulness techniques that I teach to my students. It's all about connecting with ourselves, being curious. Why do I feel in that particular way? What makes me feel? Why do I have these thoughts, judgmental thoughts? Is it because I don't have, is it because I don't believe in myself? This used to be my case. I used to have a lot of judgmental thoughts, and I didn't believe in myself. And now with more practice and time, over time, I build that self-esteem. So it's just knowing who we are at this moment. And as I said, looking at the mind as a young child that needs the love, the support in order to grow and develop. And you're there to train it. Yeah. And shall we practice meditation now?
Okay. We're going to do just about a 3 or 4 minute session of meditation. We're going to be using a guided meditation that you will be hearing the voice of Esther Hicks, who's got a wonderful meditative voice and listens to very easily. We will going to practice a breathing technique where we're breathing in for a count of 3 and exhaling through our breathing in through our nose for a count of 3 and exhaling through our mouth for a count of 5. So we inhale 2, 3, exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 2, 3, exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I did that a little quicker, too quickly. It's going to be about breathing for 3 seconds. So it's breathing 1, 2, 3. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 2, 3. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. So you will, when Esther starts speaking, that's when you normally will be breathing in. Now occasionally see she talks right through or doesn't talk through that same session, but you keep breathing with that 3 in, 5 out, and you will go. So here we go. This is Esther Hicks, General Wellbeing Meditation.
Do we need to be seated for this one?
You can be seated in this one in the same exact position that you were before.
Okay.
Okay. And breathe
Welcome
in.
to the doorway of your vortex. We are extremely pleased that you've made the decision to be here. Breathe in. Breathe out. It is good to come together for the purpose of co-creation and for the purpose of aligning with who you really are. Breathe in. Breathe out. We want you to know that as you relax and breathe and focus softly upon the words that we are offering to you here, you are allowing the gentle tuning of your vibration to the frequency of your source, who is inside the vortex. Breathe in. Breathe out. Be easy as you find the rhythm of your body, and enjoy long, slow breaths in and out as you hear our words. Breathe in. Breathe out. It is not necessary that you concentrate, and there is nothing that you need remember. Just relax and breathe and enjoy. Breathe in. Breathe out. You are an extension of non-physical source energy, and you have come here with great eagerness and purpose. You intended to explore Earth's perfect balance of contrast for the purpose of moving life beyond what it has been before. Breathe in. Breathe out. In this moment in time and space, you are precisely where you have intended to be, and the source within you is pleased. Breathe in. Breathe out. Your life continually calls more expansion through you, and all that is benefits from the important part that you play. Breathe in. Breathe out. As you relax and breathe deeply, you can feel the appreciation that Source feels for you in this moment in time. Appreciation for your physical world, for its diversity, and for the stream of never-ending desires that flow forth from you. Breathe in. Breathe out.
Okay. That's just a sample of Abraham Hicks, spoken by Esther Hicks. Breathing, general well-being meditation. It's a wonderful way to go on and go through your life, doing that meditation every day. It's really uplifting, and it reminds you of who you really are and what your purpose is in this world. So we leave that to you.
I just wanted to share, thanks a lot, Paul, for playing this meditation. I really like these powerful messages that she shared, and that powerful wisdom. I just wanted to share that I had times in meditation when thoughts from the past came to me, and I found myself crying And that was just a way to release something that my body stored for so long, for so many years. So meditation actually helped me release these moments and forgive the people who did something in my past, and just to that allows me to move forward and yeah, find some peace. So yeah, I remember even Goenka, one of the teachers, he says meditation is like a surgery that you do to yourself. You're going to such a deep level, to a cellular level, that you release all of that memory that is stored there, and all of that your body doesn't need. And that's why you feel so recharged and light and happy once you come back from meditation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And to turn it around the other way, you learn to forgive yourself for those things that happen, and you learn to forgive those people who caused you some grief, and realize that you are growing through the whole thing, and it's all just one circle and one growth for you. And you say, I am here where I am now, and this is what most important. And that's what mindfulness will give you. I am here, I am now. That's the most important thing. I'm not in the past, I'm not in the future, I am in my now.
Yeah, it all starts with ourselves. I often in the past tried to change others, and I realized that it wasn't going anywhere. So I had to accept myself. I had to forgive to myself. I really had to learn how to give love to myself in order to be able to really understand others, and yeah, and find, and eventually that leads to internal peace and really true happiness.
That's where happiness comes from. Well, one of the things that's going to happen is if you do the breathing exercises, both the breath of fire, which is, it will really clear up everything that's in your head, because all you're going to be doing is, and then go into your meditation or go into listening to guided meditation. It'll make all the difference in the world.
Or simply counting the breath, 1, 2, 3, 4, and if you find that your mind wanders, just restart. And it takes time, it takes practice. For the very first time, as I said, the meditation technique was introduced to me 11 years ago, but 4 years ago is when I actually started practicing seriously. So it's a matter of time and just trying and practice. And even for 1 minute, it's still better than nothing.
Exactly. If you have the intent to start a meditation practice, and you start with something, you know, you're going to be led to a meditation practice that is all of your own, but you have to have the intent. You have to say, yes, I want that to happen. And the universe will help you. All of a sudden, a book will fall off the shelf right in front of you, and when you're walking in the bookstore, and it says, Mindfulness Meditation Techniques. And you open it up, and it's perfect for you. But that's the type of thing that happens in this world, and you just have to allow that to happen, but you have to have the intent. I say, I want this to happen. I want this to happen. And then it'll be good. Okay.
Awesome. Let's finish with your...
Okay, I want everyone, I'm going to present on the screen some affirmations. And it's a series of affirmations from a book that I wrote that's called the Chakra Rock Healing Meditation Modality, rather, healing modality. And it's really important to remember all of these affirmations. So I'm going to share this here. So what I'd like you to do is to just read the words together. See that? I am worthy.
I am worthy.
Okay. The next one is I am clarity. Can you see that? No? Okay.
Not yet.
Not yet. We're going to share this.
So we're just saying that to ourselves, right?
Yeah, we can say it to ourselves, and we can say it out loud. I like saying them out loud myself. So okay. Okay, I just got this all. Okay.
Or you can simply show us you have the stones,
I have the stones too, but I wanted to
rocks.
share yeah, my gratitude rocks, and they're very important. But I don't have them in front of me, so that's
I see.
okay. Okay. Well, let me just read them out to you, and we can remind that way. The first one is, I am worthy, and then it goes, I am clarity. I am clarity. The next one is, I am creative.
I am creative.
I am creative. Next one is, I am love.
I am love.
Next one is, I am vital.
I am vital.
Next one is, I am passion.
I am passion.
I am grounded.
I am grounded.
And the last one is, I am enough.
I am enough.
And it's very important to realize that we are exactly where we're supposed to be at this time in our lives. And we are enough to do exactly what we need to do. And I can't make that more emphatic, that we are here and doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing in exactly the right time. We are enough. And nobody can take that away unless we allow them to. But I'm going. So namaste, everyone.
Namaste. Thank you, dear friend. I'm so glad that you made it to tonight's webinar. Thank you, Paul, for sharing your wisdom, your experience.
Thank you.
And it was really powerful to be together again.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Thank you. Have a nice evening, everyone.